brought it back. That made him happy. Then he sees Zest lost. That made him even happier. And then he received the news that Australia took out Trap. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But then we're going to be calm. It was truly a beautiful moment.
It certainly was. Anyhow, getting on into it. Starting map here will be 2K Atmosphere, and spawning over in the top right, playing for Team Envy, it is Maru.
That man still has a chance to win this group, and then of course Scarlet needs to take out Rainer. This man just needs to win this best of 3 to make it into the round of 12, and that would be a phenomenal achievement for him. In the bottom left side, representing Alpha X, this is Zoun.
So much pressure on that man's shoulders. I'm not surprised he needed an extra few moments just to get things sorted and ready. We talked about it already. This best of 3 means a lot to him. He doesn't have to bank on Bjorn beating Clem or Clem beating Bjorn. It's all about whether he wins right here, right now. I don't know how it works out exactly if he loses, but if Clem loses as well, is he still through?
There is a chance, yes. There is a very good chance even. But we have to double check the numbers. But at this point, Zoun's map score is actually quite good, because I believe he is
5 and 4.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, it's damn good. Like, when you're 2-2, like, so he obviously got the map off Rainer, a really big deal. Some of his wins against Bjorn, 2-0, and then I think against Scarlet it was 2-0 as well.
And he only had a single 0-2, that was against Clem, but Clem had 2 0-2s, and then even his victory over over Scarlet was a 2-1. So yeah, I think there is a chance that even if Zoun loses, he still has some hope, but then of course he doesn't have it in his own hands anymore, and that's why we went with this best of 3, because in the end of the day, Zoun is in control of his own destiny. He just has to take out arguably the best StarCraft 2 player of all time, if not one of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Openings here. Maru did opt for a reactor first, which is a little bit unusual here. So he's going to get out a lot of Marines very quickly to get a scout off on this Stargate, which is definitely pleasant for him. Now, within regards to openings and clash of openings, if you get out a lot of Marines, I'm always a bit worried as a Protoss player when you go up or go with a Stargate, because that's a lot of Marines that can come very quickly, and oh, that is not how you want your first Adept to arrive in the face of 4 Marines. Luckily, it will get away, allowing it to continuously shade for info, but already a bit of a rocky start.
I know this is the first time that we display Zoun on the mainstream, but I did manage to see quite a bit of his other games, and he was playing pretty wild. A lot of proxy gates, a lot of DTs, very quick Shadow Stride, sometimes with a lot of success, sometimes with less success. The man loves attack upgrades, does not believe in armor upgrades for most of it. But I gotta say, Zoun is a fun player. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Max Pax to some degree.
I was thinking Parding.
Yeah, or Australia, just wild, aggressive, in your face. Definitely not a Showtime or a Stats from the old days, but a very entertaining Protoss. It is harder to get the best of Maru in chaotic games.
Oh, it certainly is. This Oracle does get to see that Marine move out, which is quite a bit of info. Didn't have to waste a Revelation or anything like that. And these Widow Mines, not yet burrowed, but that Oracle is up to no good in this main base. Oh, lovely pickup to save that SV there, but this is already not the worst situation for Zoun ever.
Nope, not at all, because now the Medevac is still at home. It is healing up some of these SCVs. You gotta be careful you don't fly into one of these mines. But this is, oh no, now you're gonna lose it, no? Yeah. Don't know if that was totally worth it. At the same time, we've got the Marines on the other side of the map. Shield battery was not quite done yet. 2 out of 3 Adepts go down. If I was Maru, I'd go into the main base. Zoun is aware of that though, so he's gonna use a battery overcharge. This is a hold, but it's still pretty painful because we're losing a lot of mining time, and we lost a very expensive Oracle on the other side of the map.
Yeah, the Oracle lost. That was a bit sloppy actually, right? Because he saw the Widowmine go over there. Oh, lovely Medevac usage as well. This Medevac saved quite a few SVs, now saving these Marines. Oh, and he has the 2 Widowmines in here as well. Getting back into this base for Zoun will become quite problematic, but I think he's handling this really well so far.
Gunning down the Medevac, I think, is a great call. The Marines are just going to go for the probe. Seems like, what? I want to say 2 probes, but only a single probe actually goes down. And the fact that he just used the shades to get past those mines, yeah, that was beautiful, because I can't blame Maru for thinking that was going to be a good play. But Zoun actually handled it in a pretty stunning manner.
Absolutely did. Resources lost tab definitely in favor of Zoun, and picking off a few SCVs earlier. If he kept that Oracle alive, he'd be absolutely super far ahead. Now, I think his situation's all right, actually, going up to 3 bases. Twilight Council's already pumping out that blink, and yeah, good start for Zoun.
Definitely not bad. I'm with you. He'd be off to a flying start if that Oracle would have stayed alive, but he actually handled that very well. Oh, no. The second Oracle is going to fly straight into the Widow Mine, and that is terrible news for Zoun. Obviously great for Maru, and at this point Zoun is just not going to have any map presence on the other side of the map whatsoever. This is interesting. Very aggressive. Is he just gonna basically spam stalkers and maybe have charge as a follow-up as well? But this seems to be like, I'm gonna be super in your face and I'm gonna basically try to end this game.
I was thinking it's just going to be a bit of blink stalker pressure, but now I'm seeing the amount of gateways. You might be absolutely right with the follow-up, and maybe this third... Oh, I mean, it's already fully saturated over here with minerals. Obviously only rocking off 2 gases right now, but... yeah, he's hoping to at least wound Maru pretty fatally with this, I think.
Now, Maru is still on 2 bases. Zoun is already on 3. To me, this almost feels a little bit unnecessary. I do like offensive gateways on the other side of the map, but I would prefer to see him hide it a little bit, because that's when you can really go for those Zealot warp-ins when Maru does move out to the other side of the map and get those quick units right into Maru's natural or into Maru's third base if Maru does decide to build it on location. We do have charge, we do have a robo, so he's not all-inning by any means, but it does just feel that that gateway is going to be well, very easily spotted, to say the least. Can he find these Widow Mines? Picking off 1 is great, picking off 2 is even better. Now the Stalkers are in a bit of an awkward spot. Maru obviously knows that. I don't know if we want to recall those Stalkers potentially. That's exactly the play that Zoun is going to go for, and I don't hate it, Benjamin.
I think he's actually doing a lot of the right moves. Even the shield battery positioning here, very nicely done, and going to use the blinks to bait the Widow Mines, also very nicely done. So far, Zoun's play is really good.
Yep, battery overcharge is going to run out in the near future. We are going to lose a couple of probes. Auto turrets are going to go down. 2 out of 3 auto turrets go down. The third one goes down as well. The Zealots don't quite have charge yet, and these Marines and Marauders are definitely going to down on the probes. But Zoun has the possibility to counterattack. Charge is finishing up, and he's got that gateway. I wouldn't mind some aggressive gateways right now. Try to make this really, or aggressive warp-ins, try to make this really scrappy. Because if you wait longer, it's really going to hurt that you don't have any armor upgrades. This could very well be the moment for Zoun to just keep on pushing, but running into these mines does sting.
Yeah, he used his blink to get some pickoffs there. I think it was Medevacs, but holy crap, he's being so aggressive. I'm not sure that's the play. That is a lot of Terran right there, and really strong Terran with +1 already done. And yeah, Zoun sent home packing, maybe feeling the pressure just a little bit, but I know he likes to make these very aggro plays in general.
We did make a robo a little while ago. We don't have a robo bay, we don't have an observer, we don't have a war prism. I do think if you build that robo, start using it, because having a little bit of information on where these units of Maru are is not bad. Extra Zealots are going to show up. Maru drops another auto turret, and that auto turret is actually coming in super handy. Just takes care of these Zealots, soaks up a couple of these Stalker shots as well, and Zoun is just starting to lose a few more units than you're supposed to. Can we take a look at the units lost resource tab real quick? Yeah, 1900 extra resources going down. Sure, he mined a bit more, but 2k resources in a 9-minute PvT, that's quite a bit.
It certainly is, and the supply really shows that, right? And tech is coming online now for Zoun. Robo Bay halfway done, along with the Robo facility again. So going to go for that very quick switch to a lot of Colossus if he stays alive, and probably hoping to do just a little bit of pressure to keep Maru back and away from him. Maru's done a good job of keeping that Raven alive, though, for so long, despite there being so many Stalkers on the map, and now taking out that proxy gateway as well. But now we've got a situation where Zoun, he's doing that thing. He wants to be aggressive just to keep his opponent away, but oh, these are costly mistakes, Kevin.
Yep, he's gonna need to buy some time. That Robo Bay is done. He's gonna get a second Robo. We just didn't really get anything out of it yet. Firing up +2 is obviously cool. It's gonna make these Stalkers hit like a truck, but I said it already before this game starts. The man does not really believe in armor upgrades, and I think that's okay if the armies are small, but if the Terran army gets a bit bigger, especially if a few of those EMPs are gonna take care of the shields, and that's when you truly wish you had a couple of armor upgrades. Maru is gonna stim forward. I can't believe that Raven is still alive, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm like, holy crap, it's landed a good amount of turrets. 0 kills on it, but those turrets have tanked like crazy this game, and 40 supply lead for Maru. Upgrades are online now for him. 1-1 is done. Zealot run by in the third, met by Ghosts and more infantry, and now Maru going for the kill, but that is a really good shield battery overcharge here, keeping quite a few units alive, but it looks like there might be just too much Maru here.
There's too much firepower in this army. Even though a lot of the bio is running low on HP, we're gonna need a big Nova here, but Maru does does not allow big novas to take place very often. Just a single Marine going down, and that means Maru takes the 1-0 lead in his final best of 3 of the day. Ooh, I didn't hate where the game was going for Zoun, but it's just the Oracles that was a bit reckless. The first one, perhaps a bit distracted by those Marines that were heading towards his natural. The second one, though, unlucky that it flies into a random mine in the center of the map. But these are the things that you have to pay attention to at the highest level, because you can't open up with a Stargate against Maru, 2 Oracles, and basically pick off 3 SCVs, and that's it.
No, he's the best Terran in the world, Kev. Those are the kind of mistakes that you might be able to get away on ladder and such, but yeah, doing that. I mean, the second Oracle death, that's just very unfortunate. Like, you have to be on the ball to avoid that kind of stuff. But yeah, that first one, just a little bit leery. And then a few of these blinkins as well, a little bit too crazy. But overall, I think Zoun was actually doing some pretty damn good StarCraft, and he can't beat himself up too much because a few other things going slightly differently, maybe we could have been looking at a different outcome.
We just need to win the next 2 games in a row of VR Zoun to make it into the round of 12. I do have a little update of the other best of 3 that's going on. Clem has taken the 1-0 lead over Beyond, and if Clem wins and Zoun loses, then Clem is through, and that would truly be one of the most remarkable comebacks in SC2 history, because he was down 0-5 in the tournament and he was heavily losing game 2. I cannot emphasize enough on how much trouble Liquid Clem truly was in game 2 against Scarlet, somehow hanging in there and has truly turned things around. Won the next 2 games, or well, won that game, won the final game, 1-2-0 against Zoun, and now 1-0 against Beyond.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he hasn't dropped a map since then. Like, something happened, something snapped in Clem in that Hardwire game. He's like, no, it's not going to happen to me. I remember an interview with MVP a long time ago. It was like, oh, how did you feel about that final game with Squirtle? It was like, I just wanted to win. I knew I had to win, and he went for it. Getting into it, though, second map here. Curious minds between these 2 players. Bottom right-hand side, it's our red Terran, it is Maru.
And in the top left side, this man, his tournament life is now on the line. He needs to get a W here. He is representing Team Alpha X. He is our Korean Protoss player, Zoun.
One of the last Protoss remaining in this tournament currently. He can still make it through top 3 if he wins this series against Maru. But if he loses and Clem wins, goodbye Zoun.
It will be all over for him. He has played a phenomenal group stage though, because we were all talking about how difficult this group was. And they were mostly talking about the big 3, Clem, Raynor and Maru, and of course Beyond joining in the fun made it even crazier. We know Zoun is good, we know he's made it to the finals of the GSL Super Tournament twice, and he's had plenty of other impressive victories in his career, but he was still a little bit overshadowed by those other 4 legends, I think we can call them. Even if Clem hasn't been around forever, what Clem has accomplished in the European scene, I do think makes him a little bit of a legend, at least within his region. And I think Maru and Raynor, well, Beyond, they all deserve the title legend.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Clem deserves his status just purely because he's done what we didn't think European Terran was capable of, you know. By the way, I did like that little head shake from Maru there. He saw that his barracks was scouted. A little bit of a, oh, damn, can't believe that got scouted right there, which that shows me a little bit of, what's the word? Sadness in Maru's eyes in that getting scouted, because if he does win this, yeah, again, he is going through regardless.
I thought you would go with frustration there, Benjamin, because I don't know if Maru will truly get sad if his barracks get scouted. But
I don't know, he got puzzled earlier about the question of beating up a Korean dad who, you know, it was kind of odd.
I just have a hard time imagining Maru saying that he's puzzled about anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I get the feeling that gets puzzled by a lot of things, actually.
I like the other answer he gave, where he's like, I'm actually just like a really straightforward guy, man.
Yeah, I'm an open book.
The Maru you guys see is the Maru who I truly am. There's nothing else to me.
I actually like that one too. Yeah. It was very sweet and very cute and Maru-esque. But this game thus far, where's that shield battery, by the way? Is that in the main or the natural? Okay. And did he go for an early adapt here? This is me just catching up with this game right now. I'm thinking about all the outcomes that can possibly be. Going for that early shield battery, then a Stalker first? That's unusual to me.
Yeah, but it is a one-base opening that Maru went for. Now, even if he scouted it, right, maybe it's just one of these I'll rather be safe than sorry moments. Maybe he's worried that Maru banks up multiple Reapers and somehow shows up into the main base, because of course he doesn't have the anti-Reaper wall that we've seen of a lot of other Protoss players. Yeah, maybe that's just him making his life a bit easier. But I'm with you. I think if you're super sharp and you're truly in the game, you're like, this is actually not a moment where I need the battery. Now, if he wants to run his first Stalker to the other side of the map and maybe the second Stalker, then it makes sense, of course, because you've got no firepower at home. But if you're keeping the Stalkers at home anyway, yeah, those are 100 minerals you technically didn't have to spend yet, but it could just be the pressure.
But I'm also thinking, avoiding the Adept means that your scouting's worse, right? Because getting that Adept early on gives you the vision, gives you the scouting. So avoiding that entirely makes me think that Zoun might just do something super crazy off this, like, you know, 4-gate Blink Stalker, maybe even more with it, you know? It could be super duper committed.
Zoun just moves his Stalkers out of position, so this Reaper is going to get a lovely scout off in the main base. Spots the Twilight Council, spots that gateway, sees the Assimilator, and I'm not sure if the Reaper saw the Robo. Let's go ahead and confirm that real quick. Yep, if Maru was quick, and we all know he is, he definitely saw that Robo.
Absolutely did. I mean, just the size of the building, right? You can see it in the fog of war if you do the alt ping kind of thing. Oh, nice early third base here for Zoun. Obviously, you can get it around like the 4-minute mark, but yeah, that's definitely nice and early. And so far, he hasn't been under too much pressure. On Maru's side of the map, he's getting a pretty darn quick +1 weapons for his infantry here. He's got Stim on the way. 2 Marauders at a go, along with, well, he can produce quite a bit here with this. It looks like he's gone for a bit of a weird way to get here, but I kind of like it, honestly. It feels safe, it feels good. Curious Minds is a decent Terran map as well, I think, in this matchup.
Yeah, Zessa, he hates it.
Yeah, he was like, it's the one map that I would never want to play again.
Yep.
Just, it's bad against Zerg, it's bad against Terran.
Yeah, he's like, doesn't matter matchup, it just doesn't click. Maybe he doesn't even like it in PvP, who knows. But of course, the reality of this game is that Maru went for a one-base opening at first with a delayed expand. Zoun just went for a regular expand. He has been building probes ever since, and we're looking at a 10-worker advantage. That doesn't mean that Maru is in a world of trouble and he needs to deal damage right here, right now. But eventually, Maru does need to find a little victory here and there. Otherwise, this game could absolutely spiral out of control, and it could become unwinnable, even for Maru.
Yeah, we all know how good Protoss can be if they get off to a good start and their economy just spirals out of control. And Zoun's getting some good tech behind this. He's already got a Colossus in production, getting charged as well with it.
Much quicker than in the previous game.
Yeah, and it's all good against this. One thing he has to really worry about is the fact that he doesn't have any Forge upgrades on the way. And soon, there's going to be +1 bio with all the upgrades available, which is very scary. Like, this is a really early timing.
Maru is quite Marine heavy there. So if a single Colossus pops out and you get a few shots off on those Marines, I think you're going to be okay, especially if the Stalkers are near a battery. They should be able to survive a couple of these Marauders stimming forward. We did not quite have a battery in the natural, and that's actually a little bit intimidating because +1 is done, Stim is done, but I think the Colossus will scare Maru away. But Maru can obviously immediately run towards the bottom. No, Maru is going to split his units. He feels a single Colossus is not scary enough.
And there's no battery there, Kev. The battery's still in production, and Maru's like, you know what, I'll pick off what I can. Oh, the blink, it's going for a... Oh, I thought it could just get that second hit off there. That would have been a juicy medevac kill, but already the first wave of aggression kind of dealt with by Zoun, and it's only going to get better for him. He's going to have charge by the next time, second Colossus out maybe.
12-worker advantage.
Yeah, and we can't forget that he has to still worry about the fact that Maru's multitasking is crazy, but this Observer sees absolutely everything.
Yep, that's a great ops, and it seems like Maru hasn't quite seen it yet. That's obviously one of the difficulties of playing in a completely different environment. The lights are going to be a bit different. The angle to your monitor is often just a little bit off, and that makes it harder for Terran players to see Observers as quickly as they would do at home. Maru throws down the scan, but Zoun already knows about it because of the Observer. Maru does have a Marine now on the left side, so he confirms that Zoun's going up to 3 bases, but Zoun has 2 Zealots in the bottom right side. They have picked up the SCV already, and they would love to get a cancel on this CC. Not quite going to be able to get that, but this is still a lovely delay, and with every second that goes by, Zoun is just getting further and further ahead in this game. And once more, you know I'm a big fan of these random gateways around the map, Ben.
I was about to call it. This Roddy gateway is coming in really handy, like delaying that third base and just potentially opening up the way for more harass, which it's going to do. Look at that. Another cancel, I think, or at least another SCV kill over here. Hopefully hopefully if he targets it, but or maybe a little bit of a mistake there, not going for it, but still, this is slowing down Maru a lot, and Maru wants to be in his opponent's face, not like this.
Stalker is almost able to get a volley off there, but instead they just settle for a medevac kill. Zealot's still going to town on the SCVs in the natural. 6-7 SCVs going down. This is a magnificent game by our Korean Protoss. I love it. I would almost love him to slow it down a little bit at this point. Did he ever get extended thermal lens, by the way?
Yeah, he's got it, and he's got his second robo halfway done as well.
This is big for Zoun, man. This is a powerful army, and Maru has no Vikings out on the map yet. The first two, I believe, are on the way. Ghost Academy only now going down. But this is a beautiful setup that Zoun has got himself into.
Absolutely, and it's only going to get more tech heavy here. Fourth base on the way, Disruptors on the way as well. He's finally coming online with those Forge upgrades. A little bit of a juicy Widowmine hit there on those Stalkers, does take out one.
Such a low HP orbital.
Yeah, I think he could almost gun it down at this point, and Maru realizes it goes for the repair before it even happens, so he smelt the danger there. Oh, this is getting very dicey for Maru.
How many observers does Zoun have out on the map? I mean, yes, both observers still alive, and I feel like this is one of the things that's really biting Maru in the bum here a little bit. Everything that he does is just so revealed, and it allows Zoun to have an answer, and it also gives Zoun the information on when is the perfect moment to send those zealots into the third base, into the natural. Maru in a bit of trouble here.
I'd say quite a lot of trouble, but you can never count him out. When it comes to sniping off Disruptors, especially when you EMP them and quickly blitz them, but look at this. Zoun is getting ready to attack him in multiple spots here, and that's when we know it gets really tricky, and he sees everything. So if he goes for this is because he thinks he can beat that army, and he knows what army he's up against as well. Maru doesn't.
This is lovely. War Prism in the main base means that Zealots are going to get some more economic damage, a few Zealots in the third as well. The only thing that I think Zoun needs to be a bit careful for is that we don't donate our Colossus Stalker army. Zealots going ham now on the Ghost Academy, and there are no SCVs nearby to repair it. These Zealots have a lot of DPS, and that means the Ghost Academy goes down. No enhanced shockwaves either for quite some time. Yeah, okay. And Maru was in a bit of trouble before, now he's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he has a decent Viking count for these Colossus, and can obviously deal with the Warp Prism. In fact, did he deal? No, it flew over to that left side, right? Okay, it did stay alive. That's a big deal. And Zoun, he's not letting up the pressure here. He has to be careful about a flank. Yeah. That's a lot of juicy Protoss units.
This is almost the only way that I can see him lose this game. It's like, mate, you're on 4 bases, you're going up to 5, you're economically ahead, you've picked up one of the most important tech buildings. He might win the game here if he lands a good Nova or micro spell, but if the Vikings start pouncing on these Colossus, things can still get a bit dicey, but that is the good Nova that he was looking for. These medevacs are very exposed, the Marauders doing whatever they can. The Vikings will show up, and we're going to end up losing at least 2 out of the 3 Colossus, and even the final one goes down too. But since he has picked up so many bio units, I still think we can sort of justify it. But it's like, Zoun, relax, buddy. You've got a 5th base on the way, and you've done quite some economic damage, and you've even picked up the Ghost Academy.
Yeah, he's making this unnecessarily difficult on himself, isn't he? Because while it's okay to be aggressive and in your opponent's face if you're doing so well, and if you're keeping him away from you, but we'll see what happens here. Maru feeling that he has to pull the SCVs, and these are some pretty big, juicy Disruptor shots taking out a lot of the units. All right, I was about to say, it is back in Zoun's court. Wow, he ties up the series 1-1. That was actually really good Protoss play.
A pretty flawless game coming out of Zoun here. I think only towards the end, maybe with the Colossus there, getting a bit overeager, but he was going into Disruptors anyway, and he knew that his Disruptors were going to be excellent against the Vikings that Maru had, because what are Vikings really going to do? Sure, you can land them, but splitting Vikings against Novas is not something that even Maru is going to excel at. So Zoun now just 1 map away from getting the job done.
I also want to update you guys with Beyond versus Clem. 1-1 between them as well. It's really down to the wire here. If Zoun wins, he's through regardless. But if Clem wins against Beyond, then he has to win as well. It's really tense at this point.
Yep, that also means that Clem's winning streak is finally over. After winning 5 games in a row, losing the first 5, then winning 5 in a row, now finally losing 1 again. So that one goes down to the rubber match. This one goes down to the rubber match as well. Just a game where kind of nothing truly went Maru's way. I also had the feeling that he realized relatively late that Zoun took that 3rd base at 9 o'clock. He saw it a little bit later, right, with the Marine, but instead of stimming up the ramp of a 2-base Protoss, couldn't we have tried to split our opponent up a little bit and see if we can find an opening in that regard? Just rotate around the map a little bit, send a few bio units towards the bottom, maybe a tiny drop into the main base, but it feels weird to stim up the ramp of a 2-base Protoss if there is a very exposed 3rd base out there.
No, absolutely. I'm with you. And right from the get-go with him having a little bit of a head tilt, I know I'm reading probably too much into that, but he felt...
Yeah, you're right. Sadness it was, man.
Sadness it was, Kev. He just knew it before we did. And, but yeah, no, you're totally right. I think the build in general got thrown off a little bit. And the way that Zoun played as well, it was like a no probe scout bait. Oh, he did probe scout because he saw the barracks, but just very good orthodox play. But we're getting into it. Hardwire to finish it all off. Sporting over the top right is that Red Terran. It is Maru.
In the bottom left side of Hardwire, we're looking at the main base of the man who still controls his own destiny. If he wins this game, he makes it into the round of 12, and that would be a phenomenal achievement, and only being the second Protoss in this tournament to do so. Representing Team Alpha X, hailing from South Korea, this is Zoun.
There'll be a giant leap for Zoun and the Protossers out there. Just one more green boy would be lovely for you boys to watch.
Yeah, 2 out of 12, not bad.
Not bad, not bad. Better than some tournaments.
Still think they're a little too strong though.
Yeah, definitely enough.
Maybe they just haven't been greedy enough this tournament, man.
I think so. Although sometimes, you know, I watch Zest play and I'm like, Zest, no, you can absolutely. But yeah. Oh, Maru opting for an engineering bay block here. But it did look like Zoun was very quick to react and respond, was doing stuff on the low ground anyway, so he had a probe right there. And gateway into Nexus. If Gabe was just watching this, he'd be talking about, greedy Protoss.
The funny thing is that Gabe has also said is that core before Nexus is just always better, because then I don't need to build a bunker, and if I don't need to build a bunker, I've got 100 extra minerals. So it's either they're greedy or it's just worse.
Wow, you're not left with much choice, are you?
No. Well, Gabe just wants you to go core before Nexus.
I think so, so. Well, okay. So this probe being a little bit cheeky, a little bit annoying. We'll be Marine first this game, which I did like the Marine first openings for a while, because Reaper, if you get the SCV Scout, I went through a phase where it was like if I opened up Reaper, I'd lose against any sort of Void Ray play, but obviously that's not what's happening here. But I do want to see what Maru follows this up with, because we got to see Ryung's TVP. They're both very good friends, we can't forget, but nearly in every TVP, he was doing this Barracks Factory 3-racks play, which was super damn good.
Yep, and also very, very heavy on the mines. Now, maybe that's something that works against the guys that spam Zealots. Zoun seems to be a bit heavier on the Stalkers, does often get charged relatively early even, but he doesn't really rely on the Zealots to win. He still keeps on making Stalkers and would clearly love to go into Colossus. I mean, in the first game we saw quite a few Zealots, and we could see how effective the Widow Mines were against them. It is almost poetic that while we were doing the player intros for our final game of the day on the mainstream, they were also doing the player intros for that other TVT that's currently going on. You guys can check that out over at twitch.tv/rootcats, I believe, or it's ESL_SC2B. But the games are just completely identical at this point. They're also around 3 minutes in. A big TVT between Clem and Bjorn, and we are watching the big PVT between Zoun and Maru. Perhaps for Maru there isn't all that much on the line, unless Scarlet did pull off the upset and took out Raynor. We're not aware of that one yet, but for Zoun, this is one of the most important games of his career.
Is it possible for the Zoun to finish above Maru? No, it's not, right, based on map score. I don't think so, because then they'd both be 3-2, but I think Maru would just have a bigger lead, meaning he'd finish second anyway. In which case, right now when it comes to the groups, you have second places such as Dark and Rogue, which is insane. Who finished second in the Bunny group? It was
Trap.
No, it was Hero Marine finished second.
Gabe finished second?
Gabe finished second.
Oh yes, that's correct. Yeah, because we were kind of buzzing over that as well.
Yeah, exactly, which made Gabe's chances a lot better as well for those third place opponents, which would be, it was like Ryung and Dream, I think, which is a lot better than facing Rogue and Dark for him, I'd imagine.
On the other stream, Raynor did, by the way, win his final match. So Raynor is guaranteed first place no matter what happens here. He went 5-0, 10-2 in maps. That's great for him. Now all eyes on Zoun as he is opening up with 3 bases. Again, a very early gateway on the other side of the map. Like, I love this kind of stuff I feel like once the Protoss has 3 bases up and running, you're ready to counterattack, you're ready to wipe in some Zealots because you're economically ahead. Zoun almost does it by default, even very early on. Like, that is an important gateway if you're being pressured, because he doesn't have that much production to begin with, but he just absolutely loves to have those gateways, apparently.
I think it's actually worthwhile, you know, and obviously he's just been watching a lot of your play, Kevin, because, yeah, I've seen your stream quite a few times. You have those big blobs around the map, but, yeah, I agree with you. It's totally great. And, oh, he's mixing it up this game. An early Templar Archives. I actually quite like it.
Going up to 4 gases already as well this early on. I do not think the man has ever seen me play a game of StarCraft, Ben. Seems like a massive waste of time. Maybe if he clicked on the wrong channel by accident, but... yeah, quick Storm could work out. Now Maru, I do feel, is excellent against Storm, especially the way that he always makes sure the Marauders are in range of the High Templars, but the Marines are not. And of course, incredibly good in gunning down those Prisms too. Now the Raven is not going to come in super handy unless we land Interference Matrix potentially on the War Prism. If High Templars are inside of it, of course you don't want to send the Raven out too far. What the Raven is going to be very useful in is obviously revealing those observers, and those observers were honestly a pretty key point in Zoun's victory in that previous game.
And again, we've just got this observer in the most beautiful location here, seeing everything, and sees the Raven even. It's like, all right, I know you've got units here. By the way, Zoun's microing this beautifully. Picking off the bunker earlier, picking off 4 Marines now in total. That's some nice value with these Stalkers that, you know, he wouldn't have otherwise. And 69. 369. Resources lost.
Oh my goodness. It's been a long day over here, guys. The 10 best of 3. I'm like, I don't even see it. Yeah, so I think what the observer was showing us is that Zoun hasn't lost a unit yet, Ben. But if you want to focus on the 369 or just the 69, that's fine. We have a couple of Zealots on the other side of the map. Charge is around 80% done. This is an important moment in this game because this move out could end the game. If a big interference matrix lands on the Prism and no storms go down, Maru's army is way more powerful. If the Raven gets picked off, and it almost does, single Stalker could have maybe got the job done there. But now it's still hard to get the interference matrix off because it's already so low on HP. War Prism flies forward, and I think Maru is probably looking at this Prism. He's like, drops the matrix regardless. There is one High Templar that went out of it though, but that Storm is not all that great. We're also kind of fighting away from batteries. Zoun, I would go back to your batteries, matey.
I still got a while left for this interference matrix to wear off, and actually, all things said and done. Oh, the gateway, the Roddy gateway coming in very handy, sending these Zealots across the map, but then attacking the command center for a moment there, but still getting 6 SCV kills when you're under pressure, not bad.
Nope, and you already have Storm, right? And the main reason why a lot of Protoss players don't rush into Storm is because they feel it's hard to survive those first attacks. Like, yeah, you land 1 Storm, maybe you get a 2nd Storm off, but your upgrades are going to be late, and sometimes if you take some economic damage, you just start falling too far behind. That is not the case. This is still a very competitive game though, because Maru does have +1 despite the fact that he's down 12 workers, and Maru actually finds the gateway too. But Zoun already has that Prism, and a good scout as well with the Zealot here. One random Zealot just kind of going on a little stroll on the bottom right side reveals the medevac of Maru, and I don't know if Maru actually saw the Zealot.
Yeah, it's definitely settling now, right? Zoun choosing to take the forward 4th base here. Oh, this is huge, and oh my goodness. Oh, that's actually massive for Zoun.
Yep, more and more things going Zoun's way. This is really starting to look like Zoun's party. Maru probably is going to have to slow things down a little bit now. That's the first time that I feel like he attempted the drop in a little while, but he clearly did not see the Zealot, otherwise he wouldn't have gone for it. And I feel like that scan is also a little bit of a heads up, but I can sort of understand the scan. I'm not seeing the Zealot. I feel like it's something that wouldn't happen if Maru was laser sharp. Zoun is just, he's flying. 2nd Robo Bay, +1 on the way. Don't forget that we still have Templar Archives, so we can always warp in a couple of additional High Templars. The only thing I would love to see him do is get a few more probes, because I feel like he should be economically further ahead than what he actually is at the moment.
He definitely was playing it safe on that regard, but by playing it safe, he's also allowed Maru to massively catch up when it comes to the economy. There's going to be a lot of ghosts out very soon. Obviously, the armory's a little bit late here, but you want to do that purely because you want to get to ghosts quicker, so that is not really an error by Maru. But this Colossus switch that I think is going to come, yes, so the Colossus are starting up here. Is Thermal Lance done?
No. The Robo Bay just finished up, no?
Okay, so, but he's going for 2 Colossus at a time, so he wants to get a little bit of time here, before they become, you know, the laser giraffes that we all know them to be. So maybe he's going to plan on being a little bit aggressive just to buy himself time, which I don't hate it, but he has to be super careful.
And Maru is going to do Maru things. He's clearly trying to slow this game down, going up to 4 bases now. He's like, I tried to move out with my bio units and my Raven. Didn't quite what I was looking for. Went for a Widowmine drop. That one didn't work out. All right, from here on out, you're going to have to attack into me. A couple storms go down. They do some damage to the bio units, but it looked a little more dramatic than what it truly was. Because softening up these bio units, if there is no fight, that doesn't actually do a whole lot, because the medevacs are just going to heal them back up.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of expecting him to do some feedbacks on those medevacs, actually, when he saw the opportunity. Even though it won't kill them, ridding them of energy just means that Maru has to wait back a little bit more, and it makes those medevacs absolutely useless supply, besides the ability to drop.
Seems like Clem is in quite some trouble in Game 3, so potentially, even if Zoun ends up losing here, he's still going to be fine. But of course, Zoun just wants to win. Not only because that guarantees everything, but that also gives him a bit of extra money, because here at the Into Extreme Masters, you do get rewarded for every single best of 3 you win in the group stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can't believe how good these observers have been for Zoun. Like, really the all-seeing eye over here. Dark Shrine on the way as well. Thermal Lance is finishing. Double Forge pumping out those upgrades. 77 workers apiece as well. What is Maru's Viking count at? Because I've seen he's been producing them. 4. Okay, it's not too bad, but definitely going to need a few more if this Colossus count gets any more scary.
Well, careful with the War Prism there, Zoun. A couple of EMPs do go down. There are still Widowmines around. We have some Zealotron buys. These storms are quite big, though. A lot of Marines softening up there. We have the Colossus showing up now as well. Maru truly wants to get this base up and running, but it feels that his army is a little bit too low on HP to stick around. We know his micro is great, but how long can you really micro Marines and Marauders when they've got like 30 or 40% of their health?
Oh, I love the fact that Zoun's kind of using this choke against Maru here, but they both have to be careful. They're both so softened up. Zoun from the EMPs and Maru from the Stim, and quite a chunk of that AoE from earlier.
Crazy how Maru keeps on losing SCVs, but then you look at his worker count, you're like, that's actually still pretty healthy. War Prism a bit exposed, and Maru gets the pick off, and that's massive, because that means that Zoun can't immediately reinforce anymore, and it may actually slow this game down, and that is clearly what Maru wants, since he just wants to stabilize on 4 bases, he wants to max out, and he wants to get superior upgrades.
Absolutely. 2-2 is about to come online, +1 air weapons as well. Personal cloaking for these ghosts, just meaning that they can survive a little bit better in crazy situations, and maybe even using it later to get some nukes out just to get the pressure off him a little bit. He does scan to see where Zoun's army is. These little Widowmines, by the way, not only have they dealt damage, but they've just allowed Maru to know what's coming and when it's coming around the sides of the map.
I do love Maru's ability to just kind of flip the switch. We know that he loves to be aggressive and in your face, and he loves to show off the multitasking, but sometimes it's just not the right time to do so. He realized that after that medevac got picked off, and somehow we hear Maru's maxed out, Maru's on 4 bases, and he's got ghosts, and he's got Vikings. It is actually pretty uncanny how he just does it over and over again, because he was in some serious deep waters here.
Absolutely. I like what Pig said earlier. He's like a zombie, man. You just can't kill this guy unless you take him fully out, which we saw Reyna do it earlier, but it took everything out of Reyna to do so. Zealot's getting everywhere, just buying time. Maru wants time, but for what? And he doesn't want time like this when the aggression is on his side of the map. Zoun's playing beautifully. Now he's getting up to a phase where he's getting blink DTs out. That is where it gets real hard for Terran.
It absolutely is, but Maru does have a lot of missile turrets, Widowmines and Gulls, so I think technically the right tools. We're working on +2 ship weapons as well, and that obviously means that we can get into those feisty Liberators that can potentially one-shot Stalkers and can be very useful in dealing with these invisible warriors too. But you're spot on, that's not just 1 or 2 Dark Templars looking for a couple of SCVs. This is the amount of Dark Templars that is ready to blink in and just blow up that planetary fortress.
Yeah, and if he's distracting on this right side with this army, which this is an army you have to respect all the time, because EMPs only keep it at bay for so long. Zoun's looking to distract and then kill a base by the looks of it. But Maru, look at him. He's prepared with his army. If he moves over, this could be really bad for Zoun.
That is very expensive, my friend. He ran into the Widowmine, ate the planetary fortress, shots to the face as well, loses 10 Dark Templars, perhaps not all 10 there, but I think the majority was there, and he doesn't get the planetary. Now, he is rich. You can do something like that. You can try to do that once or twice, but let's not do that over and over again, as Maru does pick off another War Prism in the top left side this time.
Did he shoot one of his own Vikings down? That was pretty brutal on that Viking.
I call it the Gabe.
The Gabe.
Yeah.
It happens.
Gabe kills his own Marines accidentally.
He probably does it because Maru does it.
It's his move.
The Gabe.
Widow Mine softens up a couple of these rubber units, and also the sentry. Scan picks up the observer immediately. Do these guys have personal cloaking, by the way? I know that's not like one of the first things we normally get.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And it's going to be interesting how he uses them. Like, Maru's army splitting has been really good, right? And he's good enough as well that he scares Zoun enough that even with half his army, he pushes him back with just a few really good EMPs, just buying him so much time, not even necessarily just for the engagement.
Maru and late game on Hardwire. I almost want to say name a more iconic duo. Most of the time we see it in TVZ, but apparently even in TVP, the man does not shy away from it.
Oh, Zoun's getting him in a really nice spot here, though, but every time he EMPs these blob of disruptors, he has to be careful. Oh, how do you feel about this one?
That's a lot of Stargates. Do we have a fleet beacon?
Not yet, not yet. Those are the Stargates going down, but he's already started those late game upgrades with the cybernetic score as well. I'd imagine we see a fleet beacon very soon for Maru, or rather for Zoun, because it's got to be for carriers, right, at this point?
Can we take a look at the fancy RoboBay upgrades? Do we have Observer Speed, War Prism Speed? Yep, we've got both of them. I kind of like that. If you're on this many bases and you are this rich, these upgrades are not that expensive. You've got time to get them, but they actually make your op so much better. Sometimes you just need a quick observer as well. As we do have our first nuke going down in the bottom right side. It won't do a whole lot other than softening up these cannons or potentially take them out. 7 extra gateways as well. That's going to bring Zoun up to, I don't know how many gates, but probably close to 20, 17.
This is a huge chunk of late game upgrades. Oh, this army of Maru getting caught out here, and I'm not sure it's enough medevacs to lift everything up. And the blink as well on top of one of the medevacs. I think I took out some pretty crucial units over there. Oh, these DTs, they don't know how lucky they got over here.
And units lost resource step as another observer gets picked off. Wow, Zoun already losing 5k more, almost 6,000 resources more than Maru. Of course, he has been mining more than Maru for the majority of this game. And I guess that is going to happen if we're getting a bit reckless with our DTs and our observers. As another observer flies into a missile turret. And that may not seem like that big of a deal, but it's very important to always have a few ops around. Otherwise, you can't see those ghosts anymore if they ever decide to use personal cloaking.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Although these ghosts with these EMPs are really knocking out these DT run-bys, which is absolutely fantastic.
I gotta say, I'm a bit surprised to see Tempest.
I am too. And
I don't hate it, but I'm surprised. I just kind of expected carriers. Most people prefer carriers. They have way more HP, they deal more damage. I think the Tempest has its moments where it's actually better, but I think if you want to play Tempest in these kinds of games against Terran, you got to make sure you've got pylons and batteries basically all over the place, because you do not have the same amount of DPS as the Terran. And once the Bio Army or the Vikings get on top of your Tempest, well, they are the biggest glass cannons in the game. They just don't do anything.
And what I'm thinking is, this army, you don't keep the air army at bay, right? Like, there's nothing to kill all these Vikings and what have you. You're really relying on just amazing storms to happen and good disruptor hits, but how do you deal with that amount of air? But it's a nice DT run by for sure. Okay, that nuke got cancelled, right? Okay, I think it did. I think it did. Maybe the ghost died. I've seen it one too many times. This is a massive army on both sides, by the way, and it's so hard to micro on both sides, especially the Terran one.
Yep, but a couple of great Novas there connecting. That's going to reduce the amount of bio units. Now the Disruptor is actually going a little too far forward, stepping into the zones of those Liberators. DTs one more time, trying to take out this planetary. Maru so quick on the repairing. We know how difficult it is for a Terran player not to fall completely apart once these invisible warriors start running around and try to pick off your bases. So far, Maru is doing a good job, but he has been losing a lot of SCVs, building 7 at a time, though.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to re-establish his economy fairly quickly, but Zoun bought himself the time that he was after to get to what? I'm not sure just yet, but he's taken 2 Nexus behind us. This Warp Prism couldn't get the Warp in the main base, but might be able to cheek out this little PF over here, but at what cost, Kev? That is immediately quite a few expensive units going down.
Zoun is definitely playing cool. It's a bit reckless, but he's doing whatever he feels like it is right. It is important to not go too heavy on the Tempest, Colossus and Disruptors, because eventually Maru is going to land at EMP and he is going to stim forward, and these Marauders, they don't need a lot of time to get on top of Colossus and take them all out, and Tempest, they don't stand a chance, not even just against a couple Ghosts that are being healed by Medevacs. So Zoun needs to be a little careful. Liberator's going to siege up one more time. There are a lot of Archons in the mix. EMPs go down. The Tempest will completely disappear. These Colossus are going to get picked off as well. And Maru gets a very convincing victory here.
Oh my goodness, he just splattered everything. The Vikings reign supreme in the sky. Shield battery overcharge is not enough to keep Zoun alive. It's doing a damn good job with that Immortal though, but there just looks like there's too much Maru at this point. Nice disruptor attempt, but didn't quite get the hits there. And Maru, despite having his economy absolutely gutted by that Dark Templar squad, it looks like he's able to do it here.
Maru is getting on top of that Nexus. That Nexus will go down. Zoun realizes that he can't really defend it anymore. Draws land a Storm, and it connects with a lot of these mechanical units. That's nice. Now Stalker's actually blinking underneath these Vikings and Liberators. So towards the end of that big battle, Zoun actually gets the biggest victory of all of it. It blinks forward one more time. Needs to be a little bit careful because Marauders are starting to show up. I think Zoun still has a chance, but he's going to have to take some better fights. The Tempests are all gone. But I gotta say, I don't mind it that much. You can... Oh, no, this army is way too far forward. Maru lands a couple of EMPs. Good Novas, though, but we don't need too many Marauders to keep chasing an army that consists of pure Stalkers.
No, we certainly don't. But DT's on the left top side, able to take out a lot of SCVs. Maru, I don't know how much he's mining at this point, but that gas is going up incredibly slowly at this moment in time. And Zoun, all of a sudden, he's ahead in supply again.
Yep. Just felt that he was almost down and out after taking a pretty bad fight with the Colossus and the Tempest, but the Dark Templars finding more economic damage, and I love the big round of Stalker Warpins after he realized there simply aren't too many Marauders left anymore, and Vikings and Liberators, especially if the Libs are not sieged, well, that's an easy fight for the Stalkers.
Definitely is. Big scan on that army, and it's very susceptible to Ghost, which I think Maru still has quite a lot left of. Okay, I love the fact that he's starting to plant these defensive Liberators at bases. If anything, maybe he should have done it quite some time ago, given how aggressive Zoun's been with the harass.
Yeah, Maru's never had the economy that Zoun has had, though, so it's kind of hard, I think, to really spend too many resources on defense when you're just kind of trying to struggle to actually build a proper Terran army. And Ghosts, Vikings, and Liberators ain't cheap.
They certainly aren't. They certainly aren't. Zoun's doing a really good job of just being everywhere, really taxing Maru's multitasking, because Maru has to keep focused, and Maru feels that he can't keep this base alive, and I think he's totally right at this point.
Yep, Stalkers blink forward, first orbital goes down, second orbital of Maru goes down as well. Yep, final few shots are going to do it, and Maru seems like he almost had enough of it. He's going to counterattack, but this is kind of crazy. It might work. Obviously, Terran units often have a bit more DPS in some of these complicated Protoss armies. There are a few Disruptors there, though, on the left side. They fire Novas. Maru is paying attention. Now the other Novas are coming in from the top side, and Maru's army is kind of stuck.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's blue coming in from every direction here. The north, the south, the east, and the west. Just two Stalkers over there, obviously, but that is a lot of GTs at the top as well. Do they have Blink available? They absolutely do. Blinking on top of Maru's army. Is Zoun able to do it? Maru reinforcing from the east side here with so much bio, landing his Vikings as well. I think Zoun's doing it here, Kev.
A few more Novas going forward. One Liberator is not going to keep these bio units safe, and Zoun is most likely going to walk away with this best of 3, and that means he will be the second Protoss player in the round of 12. I do believe that Bjorn already did his part, so he might be safe regardless, but it's going to feel so much better for Zoun if he does it by winning against Maru. I mean, if you talk about a confidence booster going into the playoffs, this is the confidence booster you're looking for. Final Liberators go down, another Nova goes forward. Here are the Zealots, and that's the unit you really look for when you see there are just a couple of Marauders left. The Stalkers may struggle, these Zealots will not.
Zoun smells blood in the water here. One of the only players to take down Maru, and he does it! He guarantees his spot into the top 12, and a smile on his face, a sigh of relief.